We're joined by a very special mother and daughter duo who spent decades giving back to our community through the power of sign language. Adriana and Victoria Garcia have been a staple at El Paso Community College graduation ceremonies, interpreting for students and families and servicing also advocates for the deaf community. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. Adriana, take us back to that moment in your math class you saw an interpreter and felt called to change your entire career.
So it was my first semester at El Paso Community College, and I was taking a math class, and I saw the sign language interpreter, and it was just so fascinating. There was a deaf student taking math courses, and after days and days passed, I kept looking and looking, and then finally I had the nerve to ask the interpreter, "Where did you learn sign language?" And she said, here at El Paso Community College. So the next day I changed my major.
That's an incredible story. And Victoria, growing up with a mom in the field, when did you know you wanted to follow her footsteps?
At a very young age, I recall going to the college. While she was interpreting, I would be outside of the classroom coloring my coloring books, and when she'd come out, she'd be chatting with the deaf and hard of hearing students. And I knew the difference between wanting to understand what they were saying to one another and at the same time respecting and not staring. So at a very young age, I was very curious, and I knew I always wanted to learn American Sign Language.
And here we are. And so for viewers who may not know much about the deaf community, what's one thing you wish more people understood about the importance of inclusion and accessibility?
One of the main, with the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, accessibility towards communication, live, instantly. And so access for them, it's very difficult at times, but the more people, the more sign language interpreters there are to provide that access communication, the better for the deaf community to be able to know what's going on now in the present instead of finding out hours later or days later.
Absolutely, that's a great point. And thank you so much for what you do for our community. And we'll be right back after this short break. Stick with us.